Welcome to Crimepedia. I am your host this week. My name is Morgan. I hope you are having a wonderful day. And with me, as always, not really straight off the train, but straight off the train from CrimeCon London, it's my lovely co-host. It's Cherry. Hello, Cherry.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Yes, we're back from CrimeCon. We've got some new patrons we need to say hello to. We've got a massive happy birthday to do to one of our lovely, most OG listeners, Sherlyn. Happy birthday to you. Thank you for all your support. We absolutely love you. I hope you had an amazing birthday.
Absolutely happy birthday. And just want to thank our two new patrons. We have Louise
Yep.
and Rachel.
And Rachel as well.
Lovely Rachel from Wales joining our Patreon. So
thank you, guys. We appreciate
hopefully
it.
You are enjoying all the extras that we have over there on Patreon. And if you're not a Patreon subscriber, you can do so by going to patreon.com/crimepedia. And for less than $2 a month, you get almost double the content.
For shenanigans.
Plenty of shenanigans.
Plenty of shenanigans. We've also got good news for you if you are a CrimeCon UK fan, in that next year's CrimeCon is going to be accessible payment-wise monthly. So if you're interested in going and your reason for not going before has been it's too expensive in one go, they are actually opening up monthly payment plans. So that makes things a lot easier for people. So if you've ever wanted to go and this could be your chance to go, you can still use our code to get your discounts off. So use the code Crimepedia at checkout and you'll still get your discount off, even though it's a monthly payment. But that might be the fact that the thing that changes your mind about being able to go next year.
Yeah.
And next year will be amazing, I'm sure.
And I will suggest, like, if you do have the opportunity to go to CrimeCon, either in the United States or over in the UK in London, I would absolutely say do it. It's a wonderful time. Very interesting.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Extremely interesting. Worthwhile. You'll get to hear some amazing speakers. You'll get to meet some amazing people there, amazing podcasters, content creators. Yeah. So if you have the opportunity,
families as well.
Families. Yeah. Absolutely do it if you have the opportunity.
Yeah, that'd be great. So what have you got for us this week?
This week we have a missing person from 1987. So this is from out of Pennsylvania. So this is the disappearance of Alicia Markovich. In April 1987, a 15-year-old girl would walk out of her father's home after an argument and never be seen again. Over the past 36 years, very little has been learned or discovered about her disappearance. But despite the lack of progress, friends and family of the missing girl had never given up hope to uncover what happened to the teenager. This is Crimepedia, and this is the disappearance of Alicia Markovich. All right, Cherry. Alicia Bernice Markovich was born on February 20th, 1972 to Marcy Smith and John Markovich. Now, both of Alicia's parents grew up in the small village of Rummel in Somerset County, Pennsylvania. Marcy and John ended up getting married in 1971 when Marcy was just 13 years old.
Oh.
She would then give birth to Alicia when she was 14 years old. So very, very young.
Young mom, yeah.
Now, their marriage eventually ended in divorce in 1981, leading to a strained relationship characterized by disagreements over child support. Now, despite this parental friction, Alicia did maintain a strong bond with both of her parents.
Okay.
Now, as a teenager, Alicia was a vibrant, exceptionally funny, and intelligent. She embraced a typical lifestyle, enjoying her passion for reading Agatha Christie books, having a boyfriend, and being surrounded by a circle of adoring friends.
She
Were
sounds
you
like my
big on
kind of girl. I love
Agatha
Agatha
Christie? Yeah, I
I
figured you
love
would.
Agatha
Yeah.
Christie. Yeah. So yeah, she would be my kind of girl.
She did possess a remarkable quality of standing up for kids who face bullying, earning her admiration from everyone around her. In 1987, Alicia was a freshman at Windber Area High School, where she excelled as an A-B student and actively participated in the school's track team. Now, during this period of time, Marcy did have custody of Alicia, and they resided together in Windber, Pennsylvania. On Sunday, April 26, 1987, John arrived in Windber around 9:45 a.m. to pick up Alyssa for a unplanned visit to his home located 45 minutes away near Blairsville, Pennsylvania. Now, John's home was situated along Dunn Avenue in Burrell Township, just a short distance from Route 22, a four-lane road frequently used by motorists traveling to and from Pittsburgh, approximately 40 miles to the west. Now, the previous night, Elisa had asked a friend named Krista to accompany her on this visit, but unfortunately, Krista was unable to join her. Although Lisa was originally scheduled to participate in a car wash fundraiser organized by her track team that day, Marcy decided that it was best for her to spend the day with her father instead.
Okay.
Okay. Now, which is strange because they call it's called an unplanned visit, but it seems like it's pretty planned. I wonder if it just wasn't like his scheduled day or
Yeah,
scheduled
maybe it
weekend or
wasn't his
something.
scheduled time to have her if they're obviously not together. Maybe that's
Right.
why.
Right. Now, prior to leaving, Elisa sought her mother's opinion on her appearance, which at the time she was dressed in a white crop top featuring yellow, blue, and red stripes, paired with jeans and tennis shoes. Now, Marcy would assure her that she looked great. She would express her love for her and advise her to direct any discussion about child support to her by saying, "Talk to mom about it." So, so there was a lot going on with child support at the time. There was a
Yeah.
lot of back and forth going on. Now,
Yeah.
according to John, during the visit, he and Lisa did engage in a heated argument concerning her academic performance, choice of
Oh
friends,
dear.
Elisa's boyfriend, as well as Marcy's request to increase the monthly child support from $100 to $200.
But
All right.
also, you've got to remember she's a teenage girl, and dads and teenage girls are not,
Ugh,
they don't always see eye to eye, do they?
right.
Because they're not going to
Right.
be appreciative of boyfriends. They're not going to be
Mm-hmm.
appreciative of crop tops and things like that. So dads, I
Yeah.
mean, my dad certainly wasn't. So I would imagine that there's a little bit of butting heads there as she's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
feeling more grown up, and he's not liking the fact that she's feeling more grown up, kind of thing. So
Yes.
I can see that. I can see
Exactly.
that happening.
The only thing that kind of stands out to me, which would have been strange to me, is him being concerned for her academic performance, right? So she's an AB student.
Yeah.
So I mean, unless he wants her to just be have straight A's, but to be an AB student, that is really good,
Really
right?
good. Really good.
So I don't know what I mean. Unless he wants to
Maybe he's
get some
just
of
one
those
of
B's up
those
to A's and
dads.
he wants perfection, maybe.
Yeah, maybe he's just one of those dads that's like, he's a bit annoyed and he's like, "Come on, get your grades up," kind of thing. Maybe it's just that.
Right. Maybe. I mean, and then
But I
here's
mean,
the thing
AB is
too.
great.
He it could have been a situation where, it started off being, upset about one thing and then he's
Yeah,
just piling on because it's like,
yeah.
well, I
And
don't
also
like your
he's
boyfriend. Your boyfriend's not right for
yeah.
you and
You need to
your
get
grades are
better
going to
grades.
suffer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That's probably what it was. You should be concentrating instead of concentrating on boys, you need to be concentrating on your grades, get some of those B's up to
Mhm.
A's. Maybe that's what he meant. Maybe he wasn't
Maybe,
really
yeah.
I'm sure he was very proud of her for ABs. But
Yeah.
obviously the whole boyfriend thing, usually that's the kind of thing that dads aren't that chuffed about. So I
Right,
bet that's what
right.
it was.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there was a court hearing scheduled on the following Wednesday. That would have been April 29th in regards to the child support adjustment that was requested by Marcy. So that was just a few days away. Now, John would later inform authorities that after their argument, Elisa had abruptly left his residence and never turned back to look at the house. So he said she just got up, walked out of the house, and just continued down the road. Okay.
Oh, so she stormed off.
She
Grumpy.
stormed off. Right.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, not surprising. If you have an argument with a parent, your mom, your dad, I mean,
Yeah, teenage.
there are times
Yeah.
that I was in situations where like I might not have gotten along with, or not appreciated a decision my parents made or something, and you
Oh,
just
you
want
never
to.
agree with your parents when you're a teenager, do you?
No,
They think you're doing
no,
everything wrong. You think you know everything at like 15.
yeah,
You know everything. So like your parents have never been teenagers. So what are you talking
yeah.
about? So
And so then you go
it's
and
the way it goes.
you make a scene and you try to prove a point by storming off, right? That's what you do,
Yeah, yeah, of course. That's right. It's
right?
frustration, isn't it?
It is. Now, as Elisa did walk away, John would call out to her, telling her to return home before 8 p.m. that night.
To
Now, he
her home
speculated
or his home.
to his home, yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay, okay,
yeah. So she was supposed to return that, about 8 or 9 o'clock that night. So it was a Sunday
okay.
night. She did have school the next day.
School, yeah.
So it was expected that she was going to return to her mom's home back in Weinberg later that evening. Okay.
Okay.
Now, John would speculate that she might have been heading towards a friend's house in a nearby trailer park where he had previously resided, or perhaps that she was making her way to the downtown area of
So basically
Blairsville.
he had no idea where she was
He
going.
had no idea, yeah.
He's just speculated.
Yeah. Now, both of these areas were approximately 2 miles away. Um, and going to either of these locations would have required Alicia to have crossed the busy 4-lane highway on foot. All right. This is something that at least one childhood friend believed Alicia would never have done.
I was
It's
going to say, is there not bridges? Do you not have bridges over those highways?
no,
Or should you have to
no,
actually
no,
cross
no.
the actual highway?
Yes,
Is
yeah.
it likely you'd do that?
Not. I don't think it was. I don't think it would be likely.
4
No,
lanes of traffic? That's crazy.
yeah, and it's a relatively busy stretch of
Yeah.
road there too. And those, I feel like those. Now this was the 80s. I would assume that these roads probably had like a speed limit of maybe 55 miles an hour. I'm guessing back then,
Okay.
so it's not like it's not a residential street where the cars are going at a reasonable speed. I mean,
No,
they're
that's right. They're
going
going fast.
pretty
Yeah.
fast, and it would be dangerous to cross that on foot.
Yeah.
Now, when she did leave, John did say that she was carrying a pair of purple sunglasses with her,
Okay.
but she did leave all her other belongings behind.
So she's not run away then, taken her stuff and run away. She's
It
just gone off
it
to
does,
let off
yeah,
steam. Okay.
yes, exactly. Now, at around 8 p.m., Marcy began making several attempts to contact Alicia to remind her to be home early, since the next day it was a school day. But these calls went unanswered.
Yeah,
John
she's
would
not there.
eventually, yeah, she's not there, and John's not answering either, right? So
Yeah.
you got to remember too, this is
Because I doubt she's
1987.
got a
No,
cell phone. It's
no, not
80s.
in
So they've got
87. No, no,
they've
no,
got
no,
no cell phones.
no. So she's calling John's home line,
Yeah.
and no one's answering. But John would eventually call Marcy back at around 1 p.m., stating, and this is a quote he said, "Marcy, she's gone."
1 a.m. She's just said to
1
them.
a.m.
He's just said to the mum she's gone.
Yes, yes.
Oh wow! So he's left it late to tell the mum that she's gone
Very
missing.
late. Yeah,
1 a.m.
yeah.
I would have been really worried by the time 9 o'clock came and she wasn't back.
Well, here's the thing. Just thinking about this, if you know that she's upset and
Yeah.
she's stormed off, wouldn't you? I mean, you would make phone calls to her friends around the area. You would check around the area, but wouldn't you also call the mom? Like, hey, have you heard from her?
Yeah. Yeah. Has
Did
she
she
come
go
back to
home?
you? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But that never happened.
Okay.
Okay. Now, John said that when she did not return by 8 o'clock, that he had gone looking for her, but could
Fair
not find her
enough. Yeah.
anywhere. So he did say that he did go looking
He'd
for her.
been looking. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Elisa's friend, who lived at the trailer park where he thought she might have been going, stated that he never got a call from John and never received a knock on the door from John looking for Alicia.
So he's saying that John wasn't looking for her. He's saying he's
Right.
lying. Okay.
Yes, that's correct. Now, Alicia was reported missing the very next day. Once police were told about the argument between John and Alicia, she was quickly listed with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children as an endangered runaway.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah.
Right.
I was going to say that would be I would think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah. So she was reported immediately.
Yeah,
And
straight
it was
away.
believed that she had just run away. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Now, unfortunately, in 1987, cases like Alicia's were not
No.
didn't really receive limited attention from the
Yeah.
media. So the runaway cases or runaway incidents, um, I feel like and I actually, I feel like even still today, it's kind of the same way where they happen, but you don't hear about them nearly as much as you should. Um,
No, because I think that if you look at the statistics for it,
mhm.
runaways usually are found within a short space of time. That's why I think
Right,
they don't
right.
sort of exhaust that media tool to get this out there, because 9 times out, or maybe 8 times out of 10, the outcome
Hmm.
is that the child is found and that they've just blown off steam. They've gone to a friend's house, or they've gone to
Yeah,
somewhere that they know, and that's what happens. Like eight or
yep,
9 times out of 10, they do come back, and I
yeah.
think that's unfortunately, that's the process, is that it's a
It
runaway.
is,
We'll
yeah.
probably find them. And it's not very often, when you look back, it's not very often out of
Mhm.
all the runaway cases that are listed. It's not very often that turns into something more sinister, thankfully. So
Right.
that's probably why.
Yeah, like, so if you go back and you're, like, looking for newspaper articles about her disappearance when it happened, there's really very little to go off of.
Yeah, I'm not
And
surprised.
because of this, there is very little information regarding the initial stages of the investigation as well as the search efforts.
Yeah, yeah,
So
of
there's
course.
so it's really tough to, like, really go about, okay, this is what they did. I'm sure that the families went out searching. I know that they put up flyers, but
Yeah,
outside of that, there's really not a whole lot of information about what occurred in those early moments
yeah,
of this
yeah.
case. Now we do know that it was the Blairville police that received the initial call in regards to her being missing,
Right.
and I think they did the right thing by actually turning the investigation over to the Pennsylvania State Police almost immediately. So
Wow.
a lot of times we'll get these cases of a missing person or a murder where it's a small town who's not prepared, um, to handle a case like this. So at least they were able to. I don't want to say realize that this might be out of their scope,
Yeah,
but to be able to turn it over to the Pennsylvania State Police, um, a much larger police force, was probably the
yeah.
right thing for them to do.
Definitely, I think so.
Yeah. Now, investigators would search John's home, but nothing was found there. There was speculation that suggested Elisa might have attempted to hitchhike or secure a ride back to Winburn, like I
Okay.
mentioned earlier. However, if that were the case, it does remain unclear as to why she would have left behind all her personal belongings.
Well, I mean, she might have just hitchhiked somewhere, but just, hitchhiked to go
Yeah,
meet friends or something. She could have done that.
right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, notably, law enforcement has confirmed that there have been no credible sightings of Elisa on Route 22, and there were no reports of individuals matching her description walking in the area at the time.
So
So
no
really,
one has
there's
seen her at
no
all.
one has seen her at all.
All right.
Exactly. Now, Marcy never believed that her daughter simply ran away. Um, Elisa had no prior history of such behavior. She also lacked street smarts, and Marcy believed that she wouldn't have been able to survive on her own.
Okay.
Now, in 1990, the state police would reclassify Elisa's disappearance as a suspected homicide case.
Wow. Why?
Um, I am not sure why. This is
Okay.
one of the things. Once again, there's not a whole lot of information that came
Right.
out around about
Okay.
this time because of it. But there had to have been something that you don't just switch it to suspected homicide without having
For
some
nothing.
sort of information.
Yeah, there's got to be something, surely.
Yeah. And that completely changes the investigation when you're going from a
Yeah,
runaway to a
100%.
suspected
Yeah.
homicide, right?
Yeah.
This is the other thing that's really interesting about this. So at the time when they did switch the classification to suspected homicide, investigators were able to reach the conclusion that Elisa likely fell victim to foul play, with the incidents most likely occurring on the same day she was last seen.
Right.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
They would say that no suspects have ever been ruled out in connection to Alicia's disappearance. Okay. Marcy would
No,
also firmly maintain so no one's
no
been able to
suspects have been
been
ruled out.
ruled out,
Interesting.
which is also
Okay.
interesting because there have been no named suspects. So there's been no named suspects in the case, which is understandable, but
Definitely. Yeah.
no one linked to the case has been ruled out as a potential
Whew.
suspect.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah, that is very
I mean
interesting.
that's pretty like that's leaves things really wide open. Really wide open.
Really wide open.
Now, Marcy firmly maintains her belief that her daughter was intentionally murdered and insists that the individual who saw Alicia last possesses knowledge of what transpired.
Oh, okay.
Reading into this or reading between the lines, I'm fairly certain that Marcy believes that John had something to do with the murder. I think she has
Can you say that?
suspected him.
Oh,
Was
she
that?
suspects. She says she. So can you
She
say
has.
that she? Oh, so she has actually come out and
Oh
said
no, no,
that.
no. Yeah, yeah. So she has in interviews have thrown accusations towards John.
Okay. Which I think
So
as a family that have split up, there, not very
mhm,
many families split up amicably. There is always, usually, there is some kind of, they're obviously having arguments over the money and stuff like that. So you can kind of understand why, because he's the last person to have seen her. The police will have
yeah,
looked at him as the prime suspect because he was the last person to have been with her. He's the only one that can tell you what time she left, kind of thing. So I
right.
can understand that,
Hmm.
but there isn't any evidence
No,
to point to
there is
him.
none. There's
No. Well, that we know
no,
of. That we know
no,
of.
no that we know of. But from what, yeah, like I said, look, there's really nothing. They found nothing at John's house. So there wasn't any evidence found at John's home which indicated that there was any sort of violence that occurred,
Yeah.
that there was any sort of accidental death, that there
Well,
was
that's if it happened in the house.
yeah, exactly. Right, right.
There may not be, but if no crime occurred there, there will be no evidence. So that doesn't
Right.
mean to say that he's not in. That doesn't mean to say that he's not involved.
Mhm. No. No, you're absolutely right.
I mean, she
You're
will get
absolutely
in a
right.
car with her dad. It's her dad. So she is going
Yeah.
to willingly get in a car with him. We only have his say so that they
Mhm.
had an argument and that she stormed out.
Yeah.
The mum who she lives with is saying she would never run away. She would never, she's not street smart. She wouldn't run away. So we only have the dad's say so that she left the house and that
Right.
she stormed
Exactly.
out. That's all we have.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
okay, I'd be very interested to hear his full account of what happened.
Now there is some I'll call them rumors or some pieces of information out there that indicate that John had been asked on multiple occasions to submit to a polygraph test in which he had refused.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him
No,
for
no,
refusing.
yeah. I mean, most lawyers will tell you don't
I'd
do it
refuse. I'd
because
refuse.
it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you
There's no
in
point.
any way.
No, there's no point in taking one. If you take a lie detector test and you fail because you're nervous and you're in a stressful situation, you look guilty.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
and that happens, and there's no point in taking a polygraph test because they're not admissible in court. So you're basically
Mm-hmm.
putting yourself under due stress for no reason. So
Right.
I don't blame him. I wouldn't have taken it either.
Right.
It's not going to prove anything. If you do
No.
it, even if you're innocent and you're really nervous and it comes back as a it didn't work or it's a fail because of whatever, you're going to be looked on as guilty
Mm-hmm.
regardless. So why
Yeah.
do that to yourself? I don't blame
No.
him.
No. I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
don't
going to
blame him.
benefit him in
No, or
any
anyone.
way. Yeah. So I understand that people are going to look at that with suspicion, of course, but I mean, you have to take into
People,
consideration like
yeah.
what is it going to do for you?
But also, people are gonna make their minds up anyway. People are
Right.
going to make their minds up in a case like this. The dad did it. They're going to do that. You're going to fall under suspicion because you're the last person that
Mm-hmm.
saw her. I mean, she might have gone back to her mum's and her mum might have done something, but the dad is going to fall under suspicion because he was the last one to see her.
Right.
So I do understand it. People are going to make their own assumptions anyway. So why put yourself
Yes.
through undue stress by doing a
Right.
polygraph? I don't blame him.
Right. Exactly. Now, this case would go cold for 13 years. So
Right.
really nothing was happening.
No, there's not
So
a lot to go on, is there?
No, there's not. There's really not a whole lot to go on. But in 2000, things started to get a little weird. Okay.
Okay.
In October 2000, John would receive an unsigned 2-page typewritten letter in the mail that gave a narrative about how Alicia was murdered and the place where she was buried.
Right.
Okay.
Was it in the mail, did you say? So has
It
it
was
got a
mailed.
postmark?
It did.
Okay, so
Yes.
there's a postmark.
Yes.
So it was
There
actually
is.
mailed by somebody. Okay.
That's correct. Yep. Now, Pennsylvania State Police would release an excerpt from the letter, which read, "What gave me the idea to contact you was when I saw by chance an old missing persons flyer posted on the side of a mailbox in Philadelphia about 3 weeks ago. The second time I saw it, it was like everything faded to gray. Nothing seemed real for a long time. I thought that it had all been forever buried. I had spent the last 13 years erasing and boarding up the name Alicia Markovich in my mind, and by seeing that, it opened up the floodgates, so to say, to a limitless sea of remorse, guilt, anxiety, inner sadness, and depression." Okay. Now, the letter would detail how Alicia had died. It instructed John to dig for her remains along the Conemaugh River near a bridge on Route 220 outside of Blairsville, along the Indiana-Westmoreland County line.
Okay.
Okay. The letter was postmarked from Bedford, New Hampshire, and had a return address from that city. Now, when police went to the address, the people
Why did
living
you put a
there...
return address on
I
it?
know, exactly.
That's obviously
strange,
fake.
right? Yeah, so when police went to the house that was listed as the return address, the people living there said that they had not sent a letter, had no idea who did, and had no knowledge of Alicia's disappearance, had never been to Blairsville. So they had no connection whatsoever. Okay.
But that makes me interested in that if somebody who lived close to them saw police at the residence, they would see that the letter they sent had an effect.
Yes.
So it could. I'd be very interested to see who these people were, how old they were,
Yep.
at this house. I would also be very interested to know of any previous owners or renters of this property. Then I would look at who lives around them. So who lives within viewing distance of that house. That would be my first. If I was looking at this myself, that would be my first port of call, in that somebody could be waiting to see if that letter had any effect whatsoever, if it was written by somebody else.
Exactly. Nope. I think you're absolutely right.
Because absolutely I think secrets like this, particularly something of violence and murder, do weigh on a human's mind, and they do revisit that. They don't just block it out completely. It is usually something that they will revisit, and they will think about it from time to time. There will be things that jog their memory about this. Some people can't carry that burden of that secret. Some people have to let it out. And obviously you tell somebody, "Oh yeah, I murdered this kid," they're going to be like, "What? You're going to jail?" So this may be this person's way of offloading onto somebody else. Obviously it's her dad, but then he had to know her dad's address, which is also very interesting.
Yes, it is.
Because he would have had to find the address out.
That's not something that would have been easily accessible.
Well, it wouldn't be something that they printed in the papers. They wouldn't print his address in the papers. So it would have to be something that either they already knew or they would have to go out and search for.
Right. I mean, we're still talking 2000.
Yeah.
I mean, talking 2000, it's the early days. Really, it's still the early days of the internet. Yeah. You're not going to be able to put in John Markovich address and have something pop up.
That's right.
And you're not going to have access to
somebody that knows him.
Yeah. You're not going to have access to the white pages where you can just look it up. No. So yes, this is someone that knows who he is, that knows.
do you guys have like yellow pages there? Like, do you have the telephone pages?
You
Because in
do,
the
but it's
80s
only
we had them here.
but it's only for your area. I mean, we're talking hundreds of miles between, Blairsville,
But if
Pennsylvania,
you got the
and New
Blairsville,
Hampshire.
one, you could then look it up.
Yeah, but it would be strange for you for you to travel all the way down there for white pages, right?
Well, I don't know because, like, from when I grew up, you'd get the telephone book. It was called the telephone book, and then you get the
Hmm.
yellow pages, which was
Right.
businesses.
Yes.
So if you wanted like the telephone book for the area, you could easily get it. You could get it anywhere. You wouldn't have to. Nobody would question the fact that you were looking through a telephone book because you're just trying to find
No,
somebody.
you wouldn't. No,
So they
right,
could.
right,
So they
right.
could do that quite easily.
Yeah, but it would have had but that person would have had to been in the area at some point in
Oh,
in
of
the
course,
Blairsville
yeah, of
area. Yeah.
course. Because they might have. That's right. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They could have gone to Blairsville specifically for that
Yeah.
to find his address.
Which is crazy on its own. But yeah.
Yeah, well, murdering someone's pretty
No,
crazy.
no, no, absolutely. No, don't get
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely.
So this person's obviously not thinking straight. And this,
Right.
if that's the only way they can find out where he is, the easiest way and the most anonymous way they can find out where he is, it's quite a good idea. Because
Yeah.
nobody's going to question the
Right.
fact that you're just looking up an address. You could just say,
Right.
I'm looking up my old friend's address. No one's going to go, oh, yeah, why? You're
Mm.
not going to. So
Mhm.
why not? If it's a burden on your mind that bad and you want to find this guy and you want to tell him what you did, that
Yeah.
seems like a pretty easy and good way to do it to me.
It would be. Now, investigators would search with cadaver dogs at the
Yeah.
location that was named in the letter, but no remains were found, and
Oh,
they found nothing of interest in the area. Now, a few months later,
yeah.
okay, a letter with striking similarities was received by a family of another missing teenage girl from Florida. Okay.
Oh, dear.
This letter was postmarked from Manchester, New Hampshire, which is just 5 miles from Bedford.
Which is easily drivable to chuck something in the mail.
It is. This
Okay.
letter also contained unsettling revelations. Now, on March 15th, 1984, 15-year-old Colleen Osborne of Daytona Beach, Florida, supposedly skipped school after missing her bus. It said that she hastily grabbed a pink bikini and left her residence near the beach. 3 days later, her family reported her as missing. Now, initially assuming that Colleen would return within a day or two, they were devastated when weeks passed without any sign of her. So I guess Colleen was known to disappear like for 2 or 3 days at a time every now and then.
Right.
So it wasn't a big deal. Okay. Now, eventually her body was discovered in a shallow grave. However, at the time, forensic analysis failed to definitively identify the remains as those of Colleen Osborne, leaving the case unresolved for several decades. Now, the letter was received by Colleen's brother, Bruce, on March 19th, 2001. So we're talking 6 months after
Yeah.
the letter that John received. Now, it contained a chilling confession of her murder. This anonymous writer sought forgiveness and attempted to make amends by divulging the alleged location where Colleen's body had been left. Instead of a signature, the writer left a fish-like symbol reminiscent of the Christian sign for Christ. Now, Bruce Osborne asserted that the writer possessed inside information that hadn't been publicly disclosed.
So they did. So it's true what they've said.
So some of the information in the letter, yes, was
Okay.
was stuff that no one else should have known.
So then it's obviously from the person that's either seen her there or been responsible for her death.
Or
Is it
someone that's knowledgeable of the death, yes.
Yeah. So is there with the first one, so Alicia's, is there a chance that they've missed her? Where if it's a vast area, is there a chance that where they've been digging, they've missed her?
I would think so, yeah.
Because I'm just thinking because the second person and the letter is eerily similar within the same amount of time, is it possible that this person is the same person that's written both letters? And is it possible that the police have missed Alicia's body where it is? Because obviously her body hasn't been found.
Right.
People aren't it's difficult to explain, but when offenders have got nothing to show for their work,
Mm-hmm.
there's no notoriety for them. There's nobody fearing them. There's nobody, because they haven't been found out, which is why you find that in cases of serial killers, eventually they contact police. They insert
Yes.
themselves back into it because they want people to know it was them. And if this
Yes.
is the case, and this is the same kind of thing, nobody has found Alicia. The second girl's been found. So there's, oh, look, we found her. This is the work of somebody. Look at how horrific he is. Look what they've done. The first one is still outstanding, even though he's sent the location and told them where to find her so that everybody can be shocked and horrified at what he's done. Nobody's found her
Mm-hmm.
yet. So could
Right.
this be that they've missed her, and this is the same person that's done both of these, and they are killed in a similar way? They're same kind of
Yeah.
age, same kind
Yep.
of
Yep.
situation.
Exactly.
Could
Yeah.
it be that?
It very well could be. No, yeah,
Yeah,
I think you're right. I mean, here's the thing: anytime that the location he gave for Alicia was, on the banks of a river.
yeah, by a
So
bridge.
we know over the course of 13 years,
Yeah,
things happen. The
yeah.
floods happen. Um, Waterways can adjust.
It's wet,
So
and the
it's
conditions
wet.
are very, very good for decomposition.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and that's especially out in the wilderness like that, especially where it's damp and it's wet, and the decomposition will happen a lot faster. And then you've
Mm-hmm.
got obviously a river, which will then be skeletal remains left, and then you've got
Mm-hmm.
animals, and you've got that kind of thing, so which can lead to the
Yeah.
scatter of a body quite easily in that situation. So it
No,
could
exactly.
very well be that that is the case, and that they've missed her, or
Yeah.
she's unfortunately been sort of scattered around.
Yeah. No, I mean, you have to admit, like getting 2 letters within 6 months from the same area about about 2 missing girls
It's a huge coincidence,
one
isn't it?
it is. What if I told you it was a third one?
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me, because you're going to do a however, aren't you?
How
There
no,
was a third one.
there was a third. However, there was a third one. Yeah,
Yeah.
in November 2002, another another letter arrived.
Yeah.
This time to a letter sent to Deborah, to the family of Deborah Ann Quimby. Once
Okay.
again, she was another teenage girl who went
So
missing.
similar person, similar victim,
Yes. This letter was postmarked from Worcester, Mass,
which is
which is
how
roughly
far?
an hour and 15 minutes south of
So
Manchester, New
not,
Hampshire.
it's drivable. It's not far.
Very drivable. Okay.
Okay.
So on May 3rd, 1977, Deborah Quimby departed from her Townsend, Massachusetts home on a brown 10-speed bicycle, intending
Okay.
to reach her grandfather's campsite. Now, she was briefly accompanied by a friend during at least part of the journey, but then they would separate and she would continue
Yeah.
on. Now, Deborah's father believed that she may have been meeting someone that she knew at this campsite.
Well, she did. Yeah.
Yep. Despite extensive efforts to locate her, the investigation went cold until anonymous tips directed authorities to search the nearby Walker Pond. Okay.
Again. Yeah.
Now, exactly 1 year after the first letter was received by the Quimby family, a second letter arrived, this one postmarked in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Okay.
All right. So we're
Yeah.
back to New Hampshire. Okay. Now, this was, once again, it was addressed to Deborah's family.
Yeah.
While the precise contents of these letters remain undisclosed by the police, it is known that they contain somewhat specific information. Okay. My assumption is when we talk about specific information, there's information that was in these letters that someone who was not familiar or had inside knowledge of the case shouldn't have known.
Right. So
Okay.
again, this is somebody who's got inside knowledge again.
Yes. Now, because of this, speculation began to arise that these letters, which were all sent within a 2-year time frame from the same New Hampshire, Massachusetts border area, might be the work of a single author, which I
Okay.
absolutely think it was. Okay. I mean, it's
Well,
too
yeah, it'd
much
be
of a
very
coincidence.
yeah, you're right. I think it'd be very interesting to look at these 3 letters together.
They would. However, law enforcement authorities currently lean towards the possibility of this being a hoax. Okay,
Well, it'd be a very elaborate hoax
it would be.
if they've got
A,
inside information on what, that would be quite
mm-hmm.
elaborate.
Yep, exactly. So first, they're thinking of this because in the case of Colleen Osborne, police would conduct a search in the area indicated in the 2001 letter
Right.
near the Tomoka River, where they said her body would be found. Okay,
Yeah.
no traces of her were found in that area. Okay,
Okay.
now using advancements in scientific techniques, investigators were able to determine that Colleen Osborne was, in fact, a Jane Doe discovered a few months after her disappearance, approximately 80 miles away from the location specified by the writer.
Right.
Okay.
So she's been found and she's been identified.
Yes, she
Okay.
has.
Okay.
Now, law enforcement authorities have stated that Christopher Wilder, an Australian born serial killer, is a likely suspect in the Osborne case. Now,
Okay.
Wilder had checked into a Daytona Beach hotel during the period when Colleen vanished. However, Wilder would meet his demise in a confrontation with state troopers in upstate New Hampshire in
Okay.
1984,
Right.
obviously decades prior to
Prior to. That's
the
right. So it
mailing
can't be
of
him
the
then.
letters,
Yeah.
and prior to, of course, the disappearance of Alicia.
Yeah, of course.
But what's interesting is where he was killed. He was killed in New Hampshire. So
But he was killed decades before any of this happened to
he
them. So it's got,
was.
yeah.
But my thought is like it's just weird that they both like everything is like all these are based out of New Hampshire. So I start thinking about this. Is there someone that he confided in, or was there someone
Yeah,
that he
could it
was
be his
working
wife or his
with?
mum? It could be
Someone,
somebody
yeah.
who feels guilty that they know this. They
Hmm.
know this information and that they're trying to make amends because he's gone,
Yep.
and maybe they're trying to give the family some kind of answer. It could be
Yep.
somebody that he's confided in
Yeah, possibly. It's just
that's
interesting
feeling
that that
guilty.
that these
Yeah.
that these letters were
Yeah,
from this
definitely.
area, and then this is where he ended up being killed, right?
You can't ignore it. I think it's
No,
it's
you
definitely
can't.
something you have to look at because it's a very big coincidence.
No, right. Now, in the searches prompted by the Quimby letters, no significant breakthroughs were ever made. Authorities would scour the Walker Pond in 2003 and 2004, employing both sonar technology and even draining the pond on one occasion. While they were able to discover old tires, clothing, and bike parts, there were no sign of the missing girl. Okay.
Okay.
Now, additionally, John, Alicia's father, would receive a second letter. Okay. So after the first one, which he promptly handed over to state police. Police did conduct a thorough investigation on the letters, including DNA analysis on both of them.
Okay.
Unfortunately, their efforts yielded no credible evidence to advance the investigation.
Right.
Now, one of the letters did actually contain a name, leading to police questioning the individual whose name was mentioned. However, it was determined that this person had no connection to the letters and no knowledge of Alicia.
Right. Okay.
So,
Interesting.
if this was a hoax, this was extremely elaborate. They put a lot
But
of
for
time and
what?
effort into it.
Exactly. For what? If this was a hoax, what
Hmm.
are you gaining from this? I don't think it's
I
a
don't know.
hoax.
It's it. I feel like there's too much to kind of like just blow it off as a hoax.
Yeah, because usually hoaxes are, they get found out eventually because they haven't got a lot of information. I think there's quite a lot of information here that
Hmm.
isn't necessarily available and accessible to the public. So I think palming this one off as a hoax, I think is a little bit. What's the word? I think it's a little bit
Dismissive,
irresponsible. Yeah, I think it's a bit
irresponsible.
irresponsible to
Yeah,
just say, "Oh no, this is a hoax." There's too
yeah.
much in there. There's too much in there for this person to not to know that they shouldn't know. So I think maybe I'd be very
You
skeptical of it
have
being a
to. I mean,
hoax. Yeah, I think so.
even if nothing has come out from these searches, and um, he could just be throwing you on like a wild goose chase, right?
Yeah,
Maybe that's what he's doing. He wants to see how you react to these
yeah,
letters he's sending, right?
yeah. Or she sending.
And Yeah, or she, yeah,
Could it
absolutely.
could it be could it be that it is somebody who feels guilty because they know something that they shouldn't, and that
Mhm.
they've been feeling guilty all this time. They've seen this because hers was the first letter, wasn't it? Alicia's was the first
Was
letter.
the first one, yeah.
So I wonder if this is I wonder if this is something that's triggered something, and they've thought,
Uh-huh.
they've seen the flyer, and then the
Yes.
guilt has come and set in.
Yeah, because if you think about it, so the way that they go, so Lisa was the first, but she was the last of these three girls, right?
Yeah,
So she was 87. Colleen was 84. That was the second letter that was sent and received. So she was 84, and then the final one was 1977.
yeah,
So are they just working back through
yeah. By the sounds of things,
like what they've done? And
yeah.
but it's it's a lot of work for this person
For
to
fun,
be
yeah, just for
for fun,
silliness, yeah.
to be able to gather addresses, know where to send them, know about these cases, know specifics about the cases. It's a lot to do.
And to pick 3 very similar cases.
Yeah.
They're not just doing hoaxes here, there, and everywhere. They've picked 3 that are all
Hmm.
very similar, and the MOs are really similar. The victims are very similar.
Same age.
Same age, young girl, gone out on her own. So I would be very skeptical of this being a hoax. I think this is either somebody who has knowledge of what someone's done, or
Hmm.
it's the person themselves. I'm more inclined to think it's somebody who's feeling guilty that knows what somebody did.
Isn't that the safer route to take than to just say it's a hoax?
Yeah.
Or the smarter route? I don't know. It's like, don't be so dismissive of it
No, that's right. Because the
because
information in it is too good.
it is. And even if it's not leading you to a body, there could be you can explain that as they want to see how far you'll go.
Yeah.
And they've got whatever their purpose for these letters, they got it,
And they're
right?
quite manipulative, aren't they? People that,
Hmm.
when you look into statistics of people that commit crime like that, they are quite manipulative. So
Right.
is it that they're trying to manipulate police, or they're frustrated that they haven't been found for this? They're frustrated no one's talking about it anymore, that it's gone cold, and therefore all
Hmm.
their work has gone undetected and unrewarded, kind of thing. So is it that this person's like, it could be that, or it's the fact that somebody has just recently died, and now the family member has come out and said, look, this is the information you need.
Yeah.
You need to look into this better. He's already dead, so it's not gonna hurt him now, because they've got loyalty to him. I mean, that must be, if just say, if it was someone's son that carried this out, that's a
Yeah.
huge thing as a mother, to shop
Hmm.
your own son, regardless of the stuff that he's done. Even if your kid does the most heinous things, I don't think you stop loving them as a parent. You may hate what they've done and hate what they've become, but I still think that there would be that bond, that maternal bond. So could it be that he's passed away and she now feels free enough to come forward? So I'd be very interested to see the dynamics of that kind of thing, because is that possible?
Yeah.
She's weighed down by the burden of guilt on this, knowing the information that she does, and now
Yeah.
he's passed away. It's too late. She's not going to have to shop
Exactly.
her own son. So it could. I'd be
Yeah.
interested to look at that too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Absolutely.
You've got to look at everything, haven't
Now,
you? You've got to look at
no,
absolutely
you
everything
do.
you can, because there's no harm in that. Once you've ticked something off, it's definitely not that. You can concentrate on other things. So
E- Even if it leads you to a dead end,
yeah,
you just don't throw it into the bin and say,
no,
"Oh, that's not going anywhere." You still keep it
yeah,
because that dead end might open up to a whole nother path somewhere down
you're
the road.
right. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I could see how you would be frustrated with it as an investigator,
Of course,
especially like on a cold case. It's been cold for a decade, and all of a sudden you're getting these letters, and it's okay, this is finally something.
someone knows
Only
something.
for it to like once again just come to a dead end. Yeah, I can see how it's frustrating, but the responsible thing would to at least keep that line of inquiry open,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Until you're absolutely sure.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
You can unless you can go, say, we know who wrote the letter. We know where they were at the time of these murders or disappearances, and there's no way he was involved. Until you can get to that, I don't think you dismiss it.
I agree.
So, yeah. Now, according to investigators, one of the most intriguing pieces of evidence in their case file is tied to an incident that occurred a year after Alicia's disappearance and just a few miles from her father's residence. Okay. On May 5th, 1988, at approximately 6:50 a.m., a burned-out Subaru was discovered along Route 939, which is also known as Tunnelton Road, in Loyalhanna Township. Okay, this is about 13 miles from John's home. Now, the vehicle belonged to John Markovich,
Okay.
who claimed that it had been stolen from his home sometime between 1 a.m. and 6:50 a.m. that night. Now, remarkably, the police had not searched either Alicia's parents' cars before this incident. Now, authorities have chosen not to disclose further details or information regarding the theft and destruction of the Subaru.
Hang on a minute. How long after her disappearance was
A
this?
year. This is about a
Is
year
he going
after.
to wait a whole year?
Yeah. Why? And if he does, like, what would lead him to, like, burning out his own car, right? Was there something? Had police started questioning him about the car and they wanted to look into it? I don't know.
But if they had, that would be hell of a suspicious.
That would be, yes, extremely.
If they just start talking to him about the car and then all of a sudden, oops, my car got stolen, that's going to make him look even more guilty.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think, I'm not sure about that.
Well, because here's the thing. It's strange because it's brought up and it's, police won't really talk about it. They won't give any information about it. So, first off, why would they wait so long to search the car?
Exactly.
Right? Why would they wait so long? And I don't know. Why would he, if he had any thought that something in that car could lead her disappearance back to him?
They're going to have.
Then why would he wait?
They're going to have DNA in the car. She's his daughter. She's been in his car. So there will be familial DNA, touch DNA in her car, in his car. She will have hair in his car. Anybody that knows any female knows how much their hair falls out. There's going to be hair in the car. There's going to be, it's very easily explainable unless it's a huge amount of blood. If ever there was blood in the car, it's her dad. So unless we're talking about a lot of blood in the car, I mean, we're talking pre-DNA then? We're talking about 1980...
1987, yeah.
Yeah, 7. So there is, but it's in its infancy.
There is, but no one really, exactly.
No one really knows about it so much. So, okay.
Here's the thing. If there's that much blood in the car, why is he driving around a year?
Yeah, I don't believe that. I think that's just a huge coincidence. I can't see why he would leave it a whole year. And if they had started talking to him about his car, why wouldn't you have searched a car in the beginning? That's stupid. First thing I said to you, it might not have happened in the house. They might have gone in the car somewhere. So that doesn't make sense. But then I don't see why he would leave it a whole year before getting rid of his car.
Exactly.
If
something happened in that car, he would got rid of it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
You won't wait a year and then, sorry, it got stolen. Now it's burned out.
That's right.
Yeah.
A year is a long time. A long time to wait. And a long time for him to be, if he's done something, a long time for him to be on tenterhooks about what if they come back and search my car. I don't think so.
I don't see it. No.
I think it just happens to be a coincidence, that one.
Yep. Now, Alicia's mother, Marcy, would attend a press conference organized by the Indiana Barracks Pennsylvania State Police on April 26, 2011. The purpose of this conference was to submit Alicia's baby teeth for DNA profiling and to raise awareness about her case. Now, John did not appear at this press conference, and he cited work commitments at a salt mine in Painesville, Ohio, where he had been employed part-time since 1988. So instead, he would send his wife, Deb, to speak on his behalf.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him for that because he's number one suspect, and I don't blame him. They're going to be analysing everything that guy says, and I don't blame him for not wanting to go.
Marcy's been blaming him for this since So I don't. If he would have shown up, he would have been grilled
Yeah.
and accusations would have been made and directed towards him.
They would have
So I
watched
don't blame him.
everything. He would either be too emotional, not emotional enough. I don't blame him. I
Yes.
don't blame him for that.
Yeah.
I can understand
It
why they make parents go and do things like that, but at the same
mhm.
time, it's very hard. Very, very hard
It
for
is.
parents.
No, you're right. It's very hard. Now, the submitted DNA from Alicia's baby teeth were compared to that of a penny doe,
Yeah.
which was an unidentified female found in Monroe Township, Pennsylvania on July 22nd, 1990. While there were several similarities between the two cases, no DNA match was found. All right. Now, in August 2021, Marcy, along with her neighbor Pat and a group of Alicia's close friends, launched an awareness campaign. Their aim was to raise questions about why Alicia's disappearance had not been actively investigated and to generate new leads. The Pennsylvania State Police maintained that the investigation had always been active and ongoing, and they ensured them that they follow up on any tips or leads that have been submitted. However, it has been a significant amount of time since they have received any substantial new information to pursue. Pennsylvania State Police has also emphasized that no person has been ruled out as a suspect in Alicia's case. Now, since 1987, there have been no sightings or communication from Alicia. Additionally, there have been no activities on her bank account or social security number. Further, of course, deepening the mystery surrounding her disappearance. The search for answers and justice, of course, continues as Alicia's loved ones and advocates strive to keep her case in the public eye and to generate renewed interest that may lead to a vital breakthrough. Now, interesting to note, they actually did announce just recently, the past week, that there is, I think, it's a $5,000 reward for any information about her disappearance and whereabouts, and that just came out. Like I said, probably I think it was like 5 days ago from the time of this recording. So they're
If you,
still
oh,
actively working on it. They're still offering different rewards. They want any sort of information that anyone possibly has.
if you need cash to give information on something like that, you are not a very good person. You should give that
Right.
information over willingly, just to being a
No,
decent human being.
right. I mean, you're waiting. How long has it been now? It's been 34, 35 years, whatever it's been, right? You're going to hold on that
Yeah.
information for that long just for $5,000?
Interesting though to see that these letters have stopped.
For
Interesting.
what we understand they have, right?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I wonder if I don't know why I think this is somebody who's trying to confess on somebody else's behalf. It just gives me the vibe of this
That's that.
being
Yeah.
somebody else, and the poor dad seems to have got caught up in this. I mean, the first thing you think of is obviously the dad is the first person you look into because he was the last person.
Hmm.
So I get that. I do get that, and he should understand that's why he's come under suspicion. Because I would want, if that was my child, okay, look at me as much as you want so you can rule me out. Get me out the way. So look at me as much as you
Yeah.
want and let's get me finished so you can concentrate on who actually did this. So I
Right.
do get it. But at the same time, I just feel like the letters contain stuff that nobody, if they do contain, I'd like to see what level of information they contain.
Yeah.
If we were to look at them, what's accurate in them. If it's just the location that's wrong, could it be that they've got the location wrong or something has happened and the police have missed that? Could it be
Yeah.
that they would find her?
You,
So that's
you
what makes me think that. I feel like this letter writing happens to be somebody who is feeling extremely guilty, either
yeah.
themselves or on somebody else's behalf.
You're right. Yeah.
And perhaps this is an older person who's written these letters. I'd like to see the way that they
Mm-hmm.
talk, the phrases that they use, the terminology
Yeah.
that they use. Be very, very interesting to look at the letters together to see, and then make a decision on, is this person older? The handwriting style, is this an older person's handwriting? Well, they were typed, weren't they, some of them? So yeah, it would be very
Yeah.
interesting to see word and phrases that they use to try and sort of age the person that's sending them.
And with the time frame we're talking about between when the murders occurred and when the letters were sent, I mean, we're talking decades.
Yeah,
You can misremember.
yeah.
If it is an older person, are they suffering from some mental health issues? Are they suffering from dementia?
Are
There's a
they
lot of things.
in poor health themselves and they want to get this off of
Yeah.
their chest before they go anywhere? It could be anything like that. Could be anything.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'd be
absolutely.
interested to those letters. I think are pretty key to this. Personally, it's just my
Absolutely.
personal opinion.
Now, if anyone has information on this case, they're asked to report or give or call into Pennsylvania Crime Stoppers anonymously at 1-800-472-8477 or by visiting crimewatch.net/submit-tip, or information can be submitted to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-843-5678.
Well, thank you very much. That was a very interesting case, and let's hope her
It
families, the
it is.
families, get more information.
Yeah, I really hope that something comes out of this soon, that they are able to locate her, either healthy or otherwise. Um, her family deserves answers,
Yeah,
and
100%.
um, I feel for them, and I hope that they can get some resolution from this. It's been way too long.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, at this point in time, it's a good thing that we have our dumb criminal to cheer things up a little bit. So to make you smile at the end of our show, we have something that we like to call the dumb criminal.
Hey, criminal, use a dummy.
Okay, so this week I have a fun one for you. So when you are trying to trap somebody, you usually use something enticing to trap them. Okay. So Derbyshire police decided to adopt this to catch some criminals. Okay. And what they did was they offered criminals a crate of beer. Okay. So the cops went undercover and spread the news of winning this crate of beer. Okay. They also informed that an individual had to contact the company that was the time when a rat entered the trap seeing the cheese. Okay. So this is basically what they did. 19 criminals were all called that contact. So 19 people called up, set up a place to collect their winnings in the form of this crate of beer. After reaching the spot, there was no beer, no crate. All there was police officers. So 19 people fell for this, and 19 people handed themselves in to police.
No.
They fell for it hook, line, and sinker. It doesn't say how they would win this. It just the thing it just said that police caught 19 criminals by offering them a crate of beer. They were all undercover, and they just spread the news of this winning a crate full of beer. I guess they just probably did it to criminals that they knew were criminals, and then they just said, "Yeah, you have to contact the company and claim your beer."
People cannot resist free stuff.
Free stuff. No, they can't. They can't.
Free stuff.
It's hilarious.
They probably didn't even have to do beer. They could have done something like, hey, you want a free sticker? Oh, I did? Okay, I'm going to go pick it up.
You want a free dumb criminal t-shirt. But yeah, so they just put this out and about that you could, if you contacted this company, you could win yourself beer. So they probably just got all these people that were wanted and gone you can just do this. Okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Wow.
No, idiots.
Simple.
Yeah.
That's simple.
How simple is that? So in future, if you want to catch people, just offer them beer. It seems to have worked for the Derbyshire police.
So hypothetically, let's say that you're a wanted criminal, okay? For whatever, doesn't matter what, right? Yeah. What would be one thing that you would be offered where
nothing.
You're like, I have to go?
No, nothing. There'd be nothing. I'm not that stupid. There would be nothing you could offer me that would let me turn myself in.
Nothing.
No.
Congratulations. You just won yourself a free vacation to wherever.
No.
All you have to do is show up at this place at this time. And
not even dinner with Colin Sutton would do it. No. It would not work.
I am not accepting any winnings anytime.
No, ever. No. If you've done things wrong in your life, do not think you've won competitions because you're going to be in for a shock.
I feel like I've heard like things like this before, and it just amazes me. Like it works.
People are so
right?
Stupid, so stupid. But well done, well done to Derbyshire police. 19 criminals. That's good going.
That's why I never responded to like those calls where like, hey, you want a free vacation?
Yeah,
I'm like,
because it's lies.
I don't think I'm wanted. I'm pretty sure I'm not wanted for anything.
No, but they're probably going to sting you for something else.
Oh no, absolutely.
So that is our dumb criminal for this week. We've got one last thing
Thank
that
you
I
very
want to
much.
say before we go. We want to say an absolutely massively huge congratulations to our friend LaDonna Humphrey, who has been just a huge advocate for Melissa Witt and the Melissa Witt case. She has, with a team of other people, has produced a fantastic documentary. If you want to watch it, you can go onto Amazon Prime, and you can now watch it on Amazon Prime. So we're so
It's
proud of
amazing.
her, amazingly proud of her. She has worked so hard to try and get justice for Melissa Witt, and I truly believe that we're going to get justice very, very soon. So please go to Amazon Prime. Please have a look, watch a documentary if you can, and support any way you can, because it's very, very important. She's been doing this for a long time, and it's about time justice was prevailing.
What an absolutely amazing thing
Yes.
to happen to an absolutely amazing person.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm very, very happy for her.
Yeah, wish her the best of luck with it all, and fantastic congratulations. And we will be back next week with another episode for you. So for now, be nice.
And bye.